Partly cloudy sky, up to 37 on Sunday. We're going to go to land.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. So we're just getting ready to line this baby up and get going. And off we go.
The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little color on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. It's great to have you along. It's Friday, December 20th. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. Really appreciate it. So, the holidays, I think a lot of us, you know how holiday events are, right? You have your family coming in, and maybe your family's a little bit dysfunctional. You know what I mean? You know exactly what I mean. Some of you are nodding your head. You're going, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Have family members you can't quite get along, with some of those. And you're trying. You're trying. That's the U.S. Congress. That's U.S. Congress. I think all of us can identify with this. What's going on in the Congress? Can you imagine everybody being able to come together and so this Donald Trump funding bill, that this was their first try, as we talked about yesterday, was a no-go. So they tried again yesterday. That also was a no-go. The vote in the House was 174 to 235. Now we're talking about the CR, the continuing resolution bill that would keep the government funded. And Donald Trump has got certain things that he wanted on this. He wanted to push out this, didn't want to be going through this again. So push out the date that we'd fund the government through, so on. And there were a number of Republicans who voted against it. And I think there were like 3 Democrats who voted in favor of it. So the final vote in the House was 174 to 235. 1 Democrat voting present, and 2 voted for it. 38 Republicans voted against the bill because they didn't think the cuts were enough. It's just crazy. Chip Roy of Texas, I think one of the names that you might recognize, was among those who objected to the extension of the debt limit. And are you worried about this? I really, because I'm trying to get I have not been concerned. I've not been worried about it. I'm not got my guts all and I think, partly because there are those who would love for you to get your guts all in a knot. I've been through this so many times at the end of the year where Congress plays this game that I am just like, you know what? This is your problem. It's all of our problem. But I'm just not going to play that game. I'm not going to get all shook up. I'm not going to, there's a lot of things I do get shook up about, but they're going to have to, put their big boy pants on. They're going to have to do their work. There are a lot of things that they're not going to enjoy doing. They're going to have to start making cuts. There are a lot of these things that are going to have to take place. And until they are, do you not have the reaction of children throwing a tantrum? Now, some are being very, measured in what they're saying. And you heard that earlier on the Fox News Rundown just before this show started. Very measured in their response. And then you've got others who are just, carrying on, and it just gets to be a circus. I feel like the clowns are in town as you watch this thing unfold. Again, I'm not trying to paint everyone with that, but you look at some of these and the antics that they are making over this, it's like, oh, come on, please. And you get to a point where you just think, I really don't want to play this game, right? I really don't want to play this game. I'm going to sit this out. You guys knock yourselves out. Have fun. But this is like crazy town. And so House Speaker Mike Johnson saying, even though this vote would push the debt limit to 2027, it in no way reflects any lack of enthusiasm on our part to get those serious cuts for the American people. We have to have fiscal responsibility as a core principle of our party, he says. So his plan was to keep the government funded and tackle the remaining problems. And a lot of this, you know, there's a lot being made about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is raging, and Elon Musk is furious. And it's like, and I read Elon Musk's comments. I mentioned this to you yesterday. If you were on X and you're not following Elon Musk, you should. You should. I find it very, very interesting. I find him to be fascinating. I don't always agree with him. You know, this is one of the things about being an adult, right? To recognize that, you know, you can appreciate somebody, you can admire somebody, even if you don't agree with them all of the time, regardless of their political background, right? And there are Democrats I feel that way about, although it's a lot more difficult to find that going on, you know, that kind of common sense going on the left. But there are some. So a lot of this is being made. So I want to get to the New York Post. New York Post, I think, is just being really unfair to Elon Musk in their reporting. And I love the New York Post. Message to the New York Post. Wake the hell up in regard to your headlines. Elon Musk rages. Elon Musk, have you ever seen Elon Musk in a rage? Publicly? I can't think of a single time I've ever seen Elon Musk in a rage. Elon Musk rages, blames Hakeem Jeffries as the Democrats and GOP hardliners tank this bill. What is it that Elon Musk actually said? Now, he said, this is what he said on X. And I laugh because if this is raging, I'm like, okay, then you can rage at me anytime, Elon. He said a super fair and simple bill was put to a vote, and only 2 Democrats in Congress were in favor. Therefore, responsibility for the shutdown rests squarely on the shoulders of Hakeem Jeffries, he's saying, leader of the Democrats. And of course, Jeffries is one of those who's raging. You've got Elizabeth Warren who's raging. I mean, it's like, so if this is Elon Musk say, therefore, responsibility, if you're using the word therefore, I think in your reaction to what's going on, is that raging? I don't know. When I've ever been angry and am raging, I don't know that I've ever used the word therefore. So it's just all a little bit much, especially, you know, hey, Merry Christmas. You know, government's out of money. Oh man, this fight just gets so old to watch these things and the way Washington is. I am so looking forward to my vacation next week. I can't tell you, to take a break from the noise of all of this stuff. It's just, and I'm not saying that I understand that it's important. Absolutely. It's important. These are important issues. I just think Americans have played this game so many times, right? At what point do you say, okay, enough is enough? the American public, hey, we are hip to what you guys are doing, and they're trying to scare me. It just doesn't work. But and I'm not saying there are things that I get frightened about, but these Democrats playing their political games as usual, to me, that's just another day. So I don't get all that shook up like some do. But seriously, the first analogy I thought of is like, okay, this is like the family at the holiday, you get the big family together, and Uncle Leo's always a jerk, and you know what I mean? And it's like, and you're trying to be a peacemaker, and that's the U.S. Congress. It's the best analogy I can think of. So I would rather put on the Christmas music, have some great food, celebrate with family, listen to Christmas music rather than the noise coming out of Washington. So what's going to happen next? House Majority Leader Steve Scalise said that the legislation would move to the Rules Committee, or would not move to the Rules Committee. He said, not on this bill, he said. And he said they'll have to meet to find a path forward. A lot of this is statements of the obvious, I think. Representative Ralph Norman of South Carolina said there is no plan regarding the next steps for funding the government. Trump wants the thing to shut down, he says. I don't know that Donald Trump, that's not what I have been hearing from Donald Trump in the comments that I've been following of him. He said Republicans must get smart and tough, he said. Capital letters, get smart and tough. If Democrats threaten to shut down the government unless we give them everything they want, call their bluff. It is Schumer and Biden who are holding up aid to our farmers and disaster relief. So following the vote yesterday, Chad Pergram of Fox News reported that Vance said, this J.D. Vance, the Democrats just voted to shut down the government, even though we had a clean CR. And did you know they went from, because the initial bill was in excess of 1,500 pages, 1,500 plus pages. This one was 150 pages. That's a pretty significant reduction from 150, from 1,500 plus pages to 150, just huge. So J.D. Vance said the Democrats just voted to shut down the government, even though we had a clean CR, because they didn't want to give the president negotiating leverage during his first term or during the first year of his new term. And number two, because they would rather shut down the government and fight for global censorship bullcrap, he said. They've asked for a shutdown, and I think that's exactly what they're going to get. So as to whether or not they're going to be, I think there are a lot of forces that are out there that are trying to scare you in regard to this. How worried are you about it? We'll talk about that coming up this morning. So where we go from here kind of remains to be seen. So now this is One American News has a story on this as well. There's no clear strategy to prevent a government shutdown. Some say might cause travel disruptions over the Christmas season. So among those who voted against it, Representative Chip Roy of Texas, Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Burchett said, I voted no on $1 trillion CR that I wasn't even allowed to read, he said. We're going to increase the debt by $5 trillion. That's what's going to happen right here. By Republicans increasing the debt by $5 trillion. What are you doing in the same bill? So just a lot of pushback regarding this. A couple of Democrats, as I mentioned, 2 Democrats who voted in favor of it. There was a closed-door meeting yesterday. Democrats came out of it unified. This is one of the things that you find among, that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats get very unified. So they have their meeting and they all come out and they're unified against it. As I mentioned, with the exception of 2. 2 members who voted for it, 1 who voted present. Everyone else votes against it. None of them will vote for it. Well, very few, as we saw yesterday. Versus Republicans, where, the comment by Senator John Kennedy that I shared with you yesterday, comparing House Republicans to free-range chickens, they're all over the place, right? You're trying to, that's gonna stick in my memory, I think, throughout this, because John Kennedy is absolutely right. In Senator Kennedy and what he said. He's from Louisiana, and I love the way he looks at these issues, and I love his just the down-home common sense that he brings to all of these things. And then also you have the Democrats raging, and I hesitate to share a lot of their comments because I find so much of it meaningless. Jamie Raskin, who said to come back with this proposal, which demolishes loads of significant things that were in the agreement, is an affront and an insult, especially because they didn't even consult our leadership. So they're going to try to blame Republicans. Oh, what a shock. So we see it's the same old game that America has been through time and time again, certainly in recent years. So that's a very big story this morning. Other big stories, Luigi Mangione, right back in New York yesterday, and was surprised then when he was hit with federal charges now that would make him eligible for the death penalty were he to be found guilty. So he was hit with new federal murder and stalking charges, which is, Supreme Court has said that you can do that. So he was expecting to walk into the, New York courthouse, state courthouse, and he winds up being taken to the federal courthouse, now facing federal charges as a result of this. So federal prosecutors now pursuing their own case against Luigi Mangione. And a lot of the story, you had people showing up. This is like yet another example of bizarro world. Those of you who are fans of like the Mario brothers, know Mario, Luigi, his brother. Well, there were people who were showing up in green Luigi hats, cheering him on yesterday. Which is just, every day it's like a trip to bizarro world. So the Department of Justice hitting Mangione with federal charges in the case. They say that he meticulously planned the execution of Brian Thompson over the last several months in an effort to initiate a public discussion about the healthcare industry. There are other ways to do that, I think. So There's an affidavit that are revealing some of his journal entries. Other big stories this morning. Donald Trump reacted to the news yesterday that Fulton County DA Fani Willis will be disqualified from working on Trump's election interference case in Georgia. And so this was big news just as I was getting off the air yesterday. In fact, I mentioned it in the fourth hour yesterday for those who join me every morning at 9:30 on Facebook and YouTube. So that story was just breaking yesterday morning. So Fani Willis disqualified from working on the election interference case. It's now being referred to another state prosecutor to take a look at it. And Donald Trump said the whole case has been a disgrace to justice. He said it was started by the Biden DOJ as an attack on his political opponent. They used anyone and anybody, and she has been disqualified, and her boyfriend has been disqualified. They stole funds and went on trips. So Trump said that case should not be allowed to go any further. There's no way such corrupt people can lead a case and then it gets taken over by somebody else. It was a corrupt case, so how could it be taken over by someone else? Well, they'll take a look at it, and we'll see where it goes from here. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Currently partly cloudy and 5. It feels like 11 below. And this hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
528 Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires.
This is the weirdest thing, as I'm doing this, doing some of these breaks. I'm looking at the clock. I have the clock right here, right below my camera. So I'm looking at the clock, and it seems like time is not moving. And I think, okay, well, I got plenty of time. I don't want to touch on all of this. And then the next thing I know, I look at the clock, and I've gone long. And then I panic. Like, I still don't know how to time this show. That's the way it goes. Hardly a big, part of it is I want to touch on as many things as I can during the, let you know about it. So if you want to learn more, as I've always told you, I want to bring stories to your attention so that if you want to learn more, you can go out and do that. Okay, we will not have time for weather here.
You may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy, or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to...
there we go.
Eye survey is proven to slow GA progression. Eye survey or vasoconstricted Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Eye survey can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Eye survey may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about eye survey today. Visit isurvey.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by a state.
6:30, partly cloudy and 5 at Kello. It feels like 11 below. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center this morning, coming up with the possible government shutdown looming. Senator Mike Round says negotiations on a new spending bill still ongoing. Also, someone stole Santa's wallet out at the Empire Mall. So Joe will have details on those stories and more coming up here on Kello.
News
See, the government could shut down at midnight tonight after Congress failed to pass a Trump-backed spending bill last night to suspend the debt ceiling for 2 years. South Carolina Congressman Ralph Norman was one of the 38 Republicans who rejected the measure and told Fox.
The gun is to the head of the American people of mortgaging our future. And you're not in that. You shouldn't be in that position.
President-elect Donald Trump called the debt ceiling ridiculous in a 1 a.m. post to Truth Social. Luigi Mangione now faces 4 federal charges for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
The federal complaint alleges Mangione methodically planned out his attack for months, keeping a notebook outlining details for wanting to put whack an insurance CEO. The notebook entry also stated that the target is insurance because it checks every box.
Fox's Shanley Painter, America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. Midnight is the deadline. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. With the possible government shutdown looming, South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds says negotiations on a new spending bill are still ongoing on Capitol Hill. According to Rounds, Democrats are holding firm on a wish list of policy issues and financial points that Republicans will not agree to. Rounds says he's still optimistic a deal will happen to avoid a shutdown of the federal government. Someone's going to get a big lump of coal in their stocking this Christmas. Dale Buxell, who's been Santa at the Sioux Falls Empire Mall for 27 years, reported that someone broke into his dressing room and stole his wallet and cell phone. Buxell was in the news back in 2017 when he lost his home and belongings to a house fire, but the community came together to help him through that tough time. Officials at Empire Mall are asking the public if they know anything about the theft to contact police. The Christmas rush at the airport is now in full swing. TSA says Christmas travel will likely exceed what they've been seeing during Thanksgiving, which is record-breaking. Travelers should prepare for long security lines and check their flight status ahead of time. If you like cruising around looking at Christmas lights, there's a map you can download with all the best places here in Sioux Falls. Created by local Josh Hayes, the Christmas light map is now up for the 5th straight year. There are 25 displays highlighted on the map, some returning locations, and several new ones. You can find the map at SiouxFallsChristmas.com. The route of all the locations takes about 2 hours to complete. And in sports, in college basketball yesterday, SDSU.
I'm doing that this weekend. Christmas lights, man.
But USD fell to Utah Tech 92.
I love doing that.
And tomorrow in the FCS semifinals, the Jackrabbits take on North Dakota State at 11 a.m. and the Coyotes kick off against number 1 Montana State at 2:30 p.m. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Partly sunny and cold today, high temperature at 16. Well, the light north wind or a decreasing north wind of 5 to 15 miles per hour. The winds are a little stronger during the morning hours. At 4 tonight, we'll fall to 10. That'll happen with a partly cloudy sky, light wind, and partly cloudy tomorrow. High of 27. 37 are high on Sunday. From the Kettleland Storm Center, I'm Scott Monk.
Whether it's close to home or halfway around the world, we've got you covered. Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9, and Kello.com.
Mortgage interest rates have fallen all year, and in 2025, they'll drop further. This means more eyes than ever will use Zillow, and that's where the very big problems will begin. I'm Kim Commando for LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. It's not an overstatement to say virtually every home buyer and seller looks up their property's value on Zillow. Many times people believe that Zillow's so-called Zestimate is the gold standard. The problem is it's not. Agents and brokers will tell you that Zestimate is only a starting point at best. At worst, it's dangerously off the mark. During COVID, Zillow itself lost hundreds of millions of dollars, relying on its own algorithm to buy homes to flip. But the algorithm was wrong, and in many neighborhoods, it still is. If a new home or an existing home is for sale and it's on your radar, remember that the real value of a property is what you can actually buy or sell it for right now, this minute. Get tech smart with my free newsletter at getkim.com. When hiring for a small business, you want quality professionals who are right for the role and your team. That's why I use LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right people for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn is not just another job board. You get access to LinkedIn's vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, many of whom you won't find anywhere else. That's why it's simply the best place to hire. LinkedIn does all that while making the process simple and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that as a small business, you might not have the time or resources to spend on hiring. That's why LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make it simpler, like the new feature to help write job descriptions. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. That's linkedin.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires, your Give You More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available, 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on SingleCare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app today. Get ready for the holidays with 49th Street Liquor. Whether you're gearing up for an unforgettable New Year's Eve party or hosting a holiday gathering, 49th Street Liquor has what you need in their clean, spacious store and parking near the door. With prices to keep you merry and an impressive variety of beer, wine, and spirits, plus fine cigars and Dakota Butcher meats, your holiday and New Year's happy hours start here. 49th Street Liquor. At the corner of 49th and Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gould. Please join me for Kello's A Prairie Christmas, featuring your Christmas favorites, along with stories of growing up on the prairies, memories of Christmas traditions past, and a chance to understand once again the reasons why this is the best time of the year. We'll start the celebration 5 p.m. Christmas Eve and continue throughout Christmas Day. A Prairie Christmas, a great Christmas tradition on Kello. News Talk 1320, 107.9.
Singing. So I'm waiting for the words here. I wish I could share the music with you, but I can't on YouTube. All right, here we go. Good morning and welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along this morning. Thanks so much for letting me join you this hour of our show, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. And I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to let you know there will be no Greg Belfrage Show. This will be the last Greg Belfrage Show this year. So I'll be on vacation next week through the holidays, and I will return on Thursday, January 2nd. So no Greg Belfrage Show next week. Want to give you a heads up about that. Also, we've got, starting next week, the Heroes Behind the Badges blood drive. Ken Versteeg and Steve from Sioux Falls Fire Rescue and Bridget from Sioux Falls Police were in yesterday talking about the event and inviting you to participate. So the Heroes Behind the Badges blood drive starts on Monday. You'll be able to donate blood at Slim Chickens on South Louise from 10 until 5. So if you make a donation of blood, you'll get perks at every one of these places. And so you can make a choice as to whether you'll donate blood in honor of Sioux Falls Fire Rescue or Sioux Falls Police Department. It's an annual competition. It's a lot of fun. And so you make a donation of blood, you receive a choice of a Heroes t-shirt, a free appetizer from Texas Roadhouse, a Hy-Vee certificate offer, 2 tickets to a Sioux Falls Skyforce home game, and there may be other perks depending on where you choose to make a donation. So the Heroes Behind the Badges Blood Drive getting underway Monday, December 23rd. It's Slim Chickens on South Louise.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, the story's trending this morning. The big story is the spending bill failed in the House, and so now we're looking at a shutdown, tonight, midnight, I think. So they were not able to come to an agreement. So it was put together by Republican leaders after Donald Trump and Elon Musk, the leader of the Department of Government Efficiency, had shot down the previous agreement. And it kind of chaps me to say it was a bipartisan agreement. And this is why you heard a number of Republicans yesterday who were chafing against the fact that Republicans were supporting this bill. So I think it's clear there was a lot of work to do in the Republican Party when it comes to these issues of federal spending. Also, there is a new report that was published yesterday revealing insights into the White House's efforts to try to conceal the president's cognitive decline over the last 4 years. So the Wall Street Journal reported that Biden's handlers limited who he spoke to, what information they gave him, what news he consumed. The nearly 50 Democrats spoke to the Wall Street Journal for the report, in which they described the hand-holding that they witnessed. These are Democrats, from Biden's handlers, which they said was unlike anything they've ever seen before. The report said that Biden's cognitive decline was so bad that a wall was built around him to hide all of this, and that his struggles were so significant that they could have upset the world order. So within the first few months after taking office, Biden was showing signs of cognitive decline associated with his age. He simply could not do his job if he was involved in long meetings because he became tired, made mistakes. Biden's team told those who were allowed access to the president that they had to keep meetings very short and to the point with him if they were granted time. And this just goes on. So that story is trending this morning. You can find it at the one that I'm sharing with you is from Daily Wire, but you can find it a number of the Daily Beast is also reporting on that story. Also yesterday, we had Luigi Mangione making his first appearance now in New York. And now, not only is he facing state charges, now he's facing federal charges, which could include the death penalty, but prosecutors have not said whether they're actually seeking the death penalty, at least not at this point. So you had Mangione then in New York responding to those federal charges, also to the state charges. Mangione had already been charged by the state of New York with 1 count of first-degree murder, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and then a number of gun possession charges as well. So now he's among these federal charges, 4 new federal charges: federal murder, stalking, and weapons charges that Mangione is facing. Also trending this morning, the Georgia Court of Appeals decided yesterday to disqualify Fani Willis, the Fulton County District Attorney, and her office from the election case that she brought last year against Donald Trump. So a 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 that a lower court had made a mistake by failing to disqualify Willis after Trump and some of the other defendants had uncovered the relationship that Willis had with Nathan Wade. And so it's not only Fani Willis, but her office now has been disqualified from this Trump RICO case. Be fascinating to watch what transpires there. Also, Vladimir Putin suggesting recently, Putin told reporters yesterday he was ready to meet Trump if he wants it, he said, and that he was open to making compromises at the negotiating table. So after a meeting with the president of Ukraine, Donald Trump had told reporters a few months ago, Trump said, "I think I haven't changed from the standpoint that we both want to see it end." He's talking about the war in Ukraine. "We both want to see it end and a fair deal made. It's good. It's going to be fair. I think it will happen at the right time. I think it's going to happen," Trump had said. So now Putin's saying not only that he's open to a meeting with Donald Trump, so he does a kind of a marathon news conference, and he was touching on Ukraine as well as some other issues. But he said of Ukraine that Russia's military advancing toward achieving our primary goals. He said the situation is changing radically. We are advancing along the entire front line, he said. So he was asked, will the Russian troops drive the Ukrainian forces out of the region? He said, we will certainly kick them out, but he could not or would not say when. So he also said Russia is close to reaching our primary goals, he said. We will absolutely kick them out, absolutely. It can't be any other way. But the question of a specific date, I'm sorry, I cannot say right now. Also, Neil Cavuto is leaving Fox News after 28 years, which is an incredible run. So Cavuto announced this on Fox, and his final show was yesterday. So he's done. So he has been with Fox since it began in 1996. So Cavuto also hosted programs at Fox's sister, the Fox Business Network. I'm looking for comments by Cavuto. He said of his leaving Fox, he said, I'm not leaving journalism. I'm just leaving here. He said, I got to do what I love here, report the news, not shout the news, not blast the news. He said his goal was to tell truth to power and fairness to all. That's me, he said. Cavuto thanked his viewers, and he said there were ones who wrote to suggest he do things that I think were impossible to do. But Fox said in a statement that Cavuto's illustrious career has been a masterclass in journalism. We're extremely proud of his incredible 28-year run with Fox News Media. His programs have defined business news and set the standard for the entire industry. We wish him a heartfelt farewell and all the best on his next chapter. So Neil Cavuto is now done with at Fox News. Also trending this morning, the FBI have detained a man from California for allegedly plotting a mass shooting, along with the school shooter in Wisconsin. So apparently the two of them had talked about it. Now he had been in communication with Natalie Ruppnow, who has been in the news because she opened fire on Monday at a Christian school in Wisconsin. And the FBI detained him after he was discovered plotting a mass shooting along with her. So each of them were planning their own individual shootings. And he has been arrested. Also, a former aide to New York City Mayor Eric Adams surrendered to authorities this week. She is facing a slew of corruption charges. Ingrid Lewis Martin, she stepped down on Sunday, one of the most influential figures at City Hall in New York, and she was spotted entering the office of District Attorney Elvin Bragg then early yesterday. And so there are no specifics regarding this, at least not in this story from Newsweek. But she is expected to face criminal charges over improper gifts, according to her attorney. So there's a lot of eyes on what's going on in the office of New York Mayor Adams. Also, billionaire Jeff Bezos was spotted going into Mar-a-Lago Wednesday night to enjoy dinner with Donald Trump. So he arrived at Donald Trump's Florida mansion with his fiance for their first meal with Trump after the election win. Wondering if he actually said anything. I don't think there. I've seen the photos, but yeah, at least this story is not reporting on anything he may have said. Excuse me. Also, CNN, their ratings, they are seeing their lowest ratings ever. And this is a story from the Daily Beast. So CNN, remember now, is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery. And they are set to lay off hundreds of people at CNN. So they are looking at their lowest ratings ever in the history of the network. And that thing has been, CNN, I have thought for a long time, has been in free fall. And you wondered how long it could go on. It's like, how long can this thing go on? I still wonder that. You know, when you're hemorrhaging, right? How long are you just going to keep hemorrhaging blood? I'm feeling better. I think I'll go for a walk, right? That's CNN. Little Monty Python humor this morning. All right. The FAA has announced temporary restrictions on drone flights in New Jersey following an influx of sightings there. So this is actually a bit old because the FAA announced this on Wednesday. They issued temporary flight restrictions prohibiting drone flights. So what's going on at the federal level? Senator Rand Paul blocked a bill responding to these drone sightings. So he blocked a Senate bill Wednesday that would have authorized resources for state and local authorities to track drones. And he said this body must not rush to grant sweeping surveillance powers without proper consideration and debate by the committees of jurisdiction, he said. Which, of course, he's right about that. Congress is always in a rush. We got to get this done. It's like, hey, wait a minute. Let's all take a breath. Take a look at this. Before you are granting those kinds of powers. And that's a look at the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Hey, I want to remind you, no Greg Belfrage show. This is my last show of this year. So I'll be back on Thursday, January 2nd. Want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas. Currently partly cloudy and 5. It feels like 11 below. This hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Interesting news talk station.
Well, thanks for starting your day with us. Very, very much appreciate it. And I hope you'll come back for the 4th hour. Again, I'm on vacation. This is my last show until Thursday, January 2nd. So thanks so much. Appreciate you being here each morning.
Whether you're looking for ag, construction, or fleet equipment, we're here to ensure a clear